Is AMD stock a buy right now? For all my AMD lovers or haters, in this video, we're going to go through the fundamental analysis of AMD, give it an intrinsic value, and then we're going to go over the technical analysis on AMD and some important news you might want to consider when deciding whether or not you'd like to buy AMD stock right now. So if you like trading AMD stock like me, then stick around because this is going to be a good video. Now, I'll start this video off by saying that I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you whether or not to buy AMD stock. I'm just telling you whether or not I think it's a good buy. When making my investment decisions, I like to use a fundamental and technical analysis approach to buying stocks. I think using a company's fundamentals and technical analysis paired together gives you a sniper advantage when deciding on whether or not you'd like to invest in a company. The one thing I don't like is piling through a company's financial reports to get my own fundamental analysis. So what I do is I use intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is a fundamental objective value that is based on the company's financial report. Things such as revenue, cash, net income, debt. While the current market price of a stock will tell you what buyers and sellers are willing to pay, the intrinsic value of a stock analyzes the company's financial performance and gives you an actual value for the stock. You can use the discrepancy between the intrinsic value and the actual market price of the stock to make an investing decision. Now, there's two different types of ways to calculate intrinsic value. There's a DCF value and a relative value. And what we're going to do is just give the median value between both. Currently, the base case AMD intrinsic value is at $89.95. That's an undervaluation of about 6%, giving the current price of AMD stock. The worst case for intrinsic value for AMD being $72.57. That's an overvaluation of 14%. Now, the best case scenario for AMD's intrinsic value would be $141.42. That's a current undervaluation from price of over 40%. Breaking down AMD's fundamental analysis even further, we can go into AMD's profitability score. AMD's current profitability score is 72 out of 100. This is gathering all the information about the company's profitability, such as its margins, its capital efficiency, free cash flow generating ability, and more. By consolidating it into one single number, you get the profitability score. The higher the profitability score, the more profitable the company is. The second basis for the fundamental analysis is AMD's solvency score. To get this score, we take all the company's solvency, such as how easily a company can pay interest on its outstanding debt, how much cash it has, the amount of debt, and consolidate it into one single number, the solvency score. The higher the solvency score, the more solvent the company is. AMD currently sitting at 92 out of 100 based off short-term liabilities, low debt to earnings, long-term liabilities, and high interest coverage. Now let's break down some of the Wall Street price targets for AMD. Wall Street analysts currently forecast AMD stock price to rise over the next 12 months. According to Wall Street professionals, the average one-year price target for AMD is $126.69, with a low forecast of $85.85 and a high forecast of $210, creating the highest forward price target of over $210, which gives you an opportunity to double your money. Again, take into consideration that these are just forecasts based off Wall Street analysis. If we look further into AMD's insider trading, during the last 3 months, AMD's insiders have not bought any shares, but they've sold $17.4 million worth of shares. The last transaction was made on August 23rd, 2022 by Rick Bergman, who sold $277,000 worth of AMD shares. Insider trading is very important, because it's not a coincidence that corporate executives always seem to buy at the right time. They have access to every bit of company information you could ever want.
I say self for our country.
So luckily, insider trading data is out there for all of us who want to use it. Now, the last bit of fundamentals I want to go through for AMD is its competitors. AMD is a semiconductor, and it currently competes with the likes of NVIDIA, Broadcom, Texas Instruments, Qualcomm, and Intel. However, when we get into the important news, you'll see that AMD is starting to gain a lot of market shares on these other companies. All right, let's hop into the daily chart on AMD. That way we could take a look at the technical analysis and pair it with the fundamental analysis we just learned about AMD so we can make an informed investment decision on whether we'd like to buy the stock. I think that taking technical and fundamental analysis and pairing them together gives you a double edge in the stock market. All right, so it looks like AMD closed at 82.90 today. Let's keep in mind that we are in a bear market, right? We are in a downtrend. AMD is going to have a beta to the NASDAQ, and what that means is that as the NASDAQ sells off, AMD is going to sell off with it. However, keep in mind that when we get back into a bull market, it gives individual stocks an opportunity to shine. We see that AMD is currently selling off. If we break AMD down onto the weekly chart, we can draw a channel to show that AMD stock is actually trading in a downtrend right now. Zooming out on the weekly chart, we know that we have supports here at the 72.70 level, and we have a topside support here at the 52.60 level. A further bear case, this would put you somewhere at the next support level around 36.54. Do I think the stock is going to go this low? I don't know. Could it? Yes. For it to go that low, it would essentially have to break through two supports and the downside trend channel. So looking at AMD right now, I do think there is still a lot of downside to be had, especially given the current climate. It looks like AMD is heading towards its fourth touch of this downside channel. What I have found with channels is that generally it takes 3 or 4 touches to break. So we could see a downside continuation of AMD. However, if the market turns around, we could see the fourth touch of the upside channel. So from a technical aspect, what would I be looking for to start buying AMD stock? Well, my first buy point would be the $72 level. If AMD were to break the $72 level, my next buy point would be the $59 level. If that support were to be breached, I would be looking to add more to a long-term portfolio around the $36.54 level. Looking at it from a risk to reward standpoint, buying at any of these price points with a forecasted price of the low $200 mark would give you an incredible opportunity to buy a company at a discount. And that's one of the best ways to navigate the stock market, right? To buy good companies at a discount. So before I let you know whether or not I think AMD is a buy, I want to go in and look at some very important news that came out from AMD the other day, and that AMD has unveiled the Ryzen 5 7600Xs, going all the way up to the Ryzen 9 7900Xs. Now these are launching on the 27th of September and are forecasted to be the fastest processors in the world, with up to a 5.7 gigahertz max frequency. That's a 29% gain on total single thread performance compared to the Ryzen 500 desktop series. This incredible lineup of the Ryzen 9 7950s will give AMD a huge boost in gaining market share in the semiconductor space. Given the 7900's retail price of $549, it will provide significantly upgraded performance at a similar price point. So do I think AMD stock is a buy right now? Well, first, I'd like you to write in the comments below whether or not you think AMD stock is a buy or whether or not you own AMD stock right now. As for me, I do think AMD stock is a buy. However, I am going to wait for it to continue its downtrend before I start buying any long-term positions. Like I said before, I will consider buying AMD down towards the $70 level and below. And I will really start inching into an AMD position anywhere under $60 for a long-term hold. Again, guys, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy or sell, so you do what you want with your money. If you would like to see me trade AMD stock live, click this video over here. If this is your first time on this channel and you found value in this video, please consider subscribing, click the bell notification so that you can stay tuned for future videos, and drop a comment below on whether or not you think AMD stock is a buy right now. I will see you on the next one.